Moving forward once more in this tutorial, I'm going to illustrate how we cut events from the timeline so that we can reuse the event at a different position. Before I start, I just need to differentiate between cutting events and deleting events though. We saw during the tutorial on copying events how we can remove an event quickly from the timeline by simply selecting it and then hitting delete. I'll remind you, I'll left click and drag and drop this event onto the timeline, and having it selected and then hitting delete removes it from the timeline. This clears it and importantly doesn't put it in the PC's clipboard, so we can't use it again, but as I say, as a simple paste elsewhere. However, by contrast, if I add the event back by left clicking and dragging and dropping, then ensuring it is selected, we can click the cut button. Ctrl+X is your shortcut, and then because I've cut it and not deleted it, it's been saved to the clipboard, ready for it to be used elsewhere. So now I'll place the cursor to the right and then our shortcut to paste, hit Ctrl+V, and then that pastes my cut event further down the sequence timeline. I'll left click on it and drag this event to the start. And now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how we cut a section from the middle of the event and have it made available via the clipboard, ready to be pasted somewhere else. I'll zoom in a little bit first of all. I'll use the zooming horizontal slider and I'll left click and drag a range just roughly in the middle. And then I'll hit the cut button once more, which of course removes that ranged area. And now if I move my cursor to the right, left clicking and placing it there and hit Ctrl+V, then now you can see that we've got the selected range that was originally cut from this event, and now it's been pasted to the timeline later in the sequence. So that's cutting events. As I said at the beginning of the tutorial, you do need to differentiate between cutting events and simply deleting them. Deleting them removes them but doesn't make them available on your clipboard, whereas cutting events does remove them and makes them available ready for you to paste them somewhere else. I'll hit play. Well, we've now seen how to copy and cut events from the timeline. In fact, we glanced at how to copy and cut partial events too by selecting a range. So now we're going to look at pasting our events or partial event, or indeed a range of partial events that are adjacent to each other. And then once again, whichever of these options that you choose, then the principle is the same. So once again, to show you how we start pasting events, let's place an event onto the timeline. I'll left click this file and drag and drop onto the timeline. And with it selected, to be able to paste it, we initially need to place it onto the PC's clipboard. And you'll remember how we differentiated between deleting and cutting. Only cutting places it onto the clipboard. Just simply deleting it removes it. It doesn't place it on the clipboard. We can't paste a deleted event. So let's grab another event and drag and drop next to this first event. And so now if I select this first event and hit the delete key, then of course that's disappeared, and then subsequently try and paste it back using Ctrl+V, well, nothing happens because nothing is in the PC's memory or on its clipboard. Right, I'll go up to the undo button to bring event number 1 back. Okay, and once done, if I select event 1 again and hit the cut button rather than delete, then yes, it's been removed from the timeline, but it's also retained in my PC's memory. To prove this, I'll move the cursor to the right of event number 2 and hit Ctrl+V to paste event 1 in after event number 2. And because it's on the clipboard, it doesn't get removed as soon as we paste it in. It always remains on the clipboard until we ask Vegas to remember something else. So because it's on my clipboard, then I'll place the cursor to the right here again. And rather than using the shortcut, Ctrl+V, I'll come up to the Edit menu, drop down to there where it says Paste. Note also there's another option there. We'll get to this in a moment. So hitting paste there once more places event number 1 on my timeline. And because it's still retained in my memory, coming back up to Edit and then rolling down to the multi-paste option, clicking there brings up this Paste Repeat dialog. And in the number field, just say how many times that you want this to be repeated. Well, I'll make it 3. And I want these 3 newly pasted events in to be completely adjacent. I don't want a gap, so I'll use that radio button end to end. But should you want to, you could have the even spacing, and if you do select that option, then choose how much space you want in between your repeated events. You could have it at the default 1 second there, or you could change it to whatever you want it to be. I'll go back to the end-to-end option. Okay, and that's it. All I need to do now, obviously, clicking to accept brings in 3 new versions of that event pasted in, and that's because they were on my clipboard. So that's what we can do when we want to paste events. Okay, right, I'm going to leave it here then, and I'll see you in a second.